I'm doing now is I gotta go through here and touch up all these door jams. I kind of went through here and hit these one time just to get some paint on them. But we're gonna hit stuff like this, anything like this, all these little nicks. And there's a couple different ways you can do it. Some people can just fill them in, or if you have to, you can paint from here up. And once you get about right here, where you get out of all the next things, you start blending it. See how I cleaned it up? You don't really notice it because you don't really notice it, but right here it's kind of dirtish. And see where the sweeper hit it? So we're gonna come through there and clean this up too. And sometimes you gotta go through there and get a first coat on it. So you just got the first coat on there. And what that does is it just kills the darkness of it. So when I do it again, it'll be white again. And you can clean stuff like this up too. Just take a dry brush and stick it down in there and just jab at it a little bit and pull it out. And that's how I normally get my corners cleaned out. It's just one of the things that you can do. But it really comes down to like how much damage is there. And these are the windows that this is after I did this window. Like I got a video of it and I did a once over. I went through, scraped it, uh, put a coat of paint on it, and put a second coat of paint on it. It actually took 3 coats, but yeah, like and like see how the door has that little yellow spot. It don't take much paint to clean that off. But that's kind of like a little trick that a lot of people don't know. When we do this stuff, it don't take a lot of paint to clean something up. Now, like chips and nicks, where it's got like raw wood, stuff like that. Now, right there, I like to put some paint on it just to get a good coat on, like get a good first coat on it. Same thing with the front of this. A big old chip right there. But this is because He probably uses like a Swiffer, and the Swiffer will bump into it, and every little bit of time, it'll eventually just either chip the paint or it'll just make it kind of dingy. So this right here, the process I'm doing now, I'm put a little more life back in it. Because, like I said, I'm just trying to touch this up. I'm not trying to paint it. I'm not trying to paint it all. And like, see now, I'm above the hinge. Like down here, I can just paint this area, and it's cool, and you're good. But up here, now you're gonna have to start blending it because this is like a good stopping point. Same thing. I'm gonna get a good dip, going right here, and then I'm gonna drag it up, and then I'm just gonna keep making it. I'm gonna keep spreading that paint out, thin it out. So that's what I want to do. I want to stretch it, but I also want it to be really choppy too, because the more fresh paint versus the the older stuff that's there, that's where you start to get your blended together. You don't want a hard stop, like you don't want to put a straight line across it. Like you don't want to put a straight line across it like that. You want it to blend up. If you can blend it when it's wet and it goes away, then it's going 9 times out of 10 it should dry that way. But it's just one of those things the farther you stretch it, the better it's going to blend. And then down here, you can just put it on as heavy as you want. You guys can see this. See the little dirty spots right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it to the floor. And you'll notice as soon as I get it wet, as soon as I get that paint spread right there, it's going to make it so much brighter. It's going to put some more light back in it. And this paint has a touch of umber in it. Umber is gold. So it's not like a bright white, straight out of the can white. See, that's a prime example right there of saying what I was talking about. This is a prime example of fresh paint versus older paint. It'll naturally tan, but like um, what I recommend is cutting out the bottom, then coating this is about right in like about right in this area. You want to start lifting off, and then you want to start stretching it up as far as you want to go from here to here, and just keep taking it up. And I'll show you that process right here. Because I'm gonna get a good coat of paint down here. I'm gonna get a good coat of paint right here. Just remember, I just hit that edge. And I'm gonna stretch it. I'm gonna stretch it a little more. I'm gonna stretch it a little more. Now when that dries, it's gonna be mixed up with the old paint, but down here it's going to look fresher. So it's kind of like it's like separating the new and the old stuff together. It's basically all you're doing is spreading paint across it to just trick your eye, so you can't see where it starts and where it stops. Because if I just went through here and just cut it off, you would see this is brown and this ain't. This would be a bright white. And this would be like kind of brownish, like the old color. But sometimes the door jams are so bad, it's easier just to run a coat on them. Because like doing this ain't, it's not a bad idea. Once you get good at it, you know how to do it. But at the end of the day, sometimes it's easier just to put a coat on the jam. Because he wants like from here down to get, wants us to clean it up. See, there's a couple of chips right there. I'm just trying to put paint in this one area. Then I'm gonna slightly spread it down and pick it up. No, I'm doing stretching that paint out so it doesn't catch your eye. There's a real nasty crack right here. I think it's got a piece of trim missing. So I keep trying to fill it up, and it's not coating it. So it's telling me. Usually, if you got a black hole and you're trying to fill it up, and it won't fill up. It's usually because uh, it's like separated. But this right here is these are what we call sweeper marks. And if you notice that the only way you're really fixing it is to take it down to the jam, down to the floor, so a new cut line on it. So I'll clean that cut line back up. Then I'm going to take a dip and I'm going to clean that black mark up on the way up. But yeah, the stuff like that, like you could fix this stuff too. But this is the reason why I was saying like he doesn't want us to like go into detail on cleaning these up. He just wants it right from here down freshened up. But if you've been watching any of the other videos, I kind of went into I was talking about how long ago this house has been painted. it's kind of the nature of the beast. Because uh, when we originally painted this place, he didn't want us to use caulking unless it was absolutely necessary. So a lot of this stuff is just filled in with paint over the years. I think I went in did a handful of these houses where we didn't use caulking, we just filled everything with paint. Because this is usually what happens. Just to give you an idea. And that's not even caulking, that's lacquer. The doors were originally stained, and that's a lacquer. Uh, that's like a lacquer bubble underneath of that. And this trim is old too. Like I would say, early like 1900s. When we first got here, it was all. I think it was stained. If I'm not mistaken, it was already painted, but it was originally stained. But I'm gonna do the same thing right here. I'm gonna clean this bottom edge up. Because what I'm doing is when you walk up the steps, you look right at this piece of trim. So this piece of trim is gonna get a good work over. Anything in the main walking area is something that you wanna like in, especially being in this hallway right here where the steps are. You're gonna walk up here all the time, so if you got little nicks like this, it catches your eye instantly, and it kind of like makes you want to start looking other places. So right now I'm just trying to hit whatever dark chips or scratches or black marks. Trying to put some paint on them now, because here in a second I'm going to start down here and I'll run it all up. Remember, I already did this part. See the black mark? This right here. That's why I was saying get a get a coat of paint on it. Put it on real thin if you have. Because the reason why I like putting it on real thin like that, because when I get to do my last coat, it'll it'll bite that first coat and help stick here. Like it'll help cover it better, just like it did right there. That's why when I coated it again, it covered it. Because if you thin your paint out, like if you stretch your paint out, it's going to dry faster because it don't have no layers to dry. If you take the layers out of it, it'll make it thinner. I know some people like to run this whole piece together. Me personally, I like to do it when I do this part. I like to do this piece because it's the only one piece that actually like when you're doing this. Now, if I try to do this with this, it's gonna mess up the front of it. So if I can run these two together, because right now I'm just trying to fill this little crack in. There's a crack at the bottom of that. But yeah, I'm gonna put a nice little thin coat over this. Take it up to about right here. I'm gonna take it up to about right here. Then I'm gonna start blending it. And if you notice, it got real thin. Then I'm going to do this piece. I'm going to do the same thing with it. I'm going to keep stretching it, stretching it, stretching it. If you notice, see where the bristles come over there and got on that side? So I'm going to come through here. Now I can work this middle piece. Because this piece is done, this piece is done. So now I'm down to this. I'm going to do the same thing. Bring it up and stretch it. And every time I'm just going to keep stretching a little bit further. Because this is semi-gloss. Semi-gloss is the hardest thing to touch up. Like hands down. It's so shiny. It's just the nature of it. I'm going to do this together. And I want it to go over that. Because this piece is round. It's flat, but it's got a real nasty roundness right here. See, I'm using that bottom piece. I'm basically using that bottom piece, that trim right there. When I run the paint across it, I'm using that to help catch the paint off. I'm dragging them off my brush into that spot. Now that I got this, I want to do this one. And sometimes we either break it right here or we break it on the back side of this door stop. But this one we broke back here because he didn't want to take a chance on it sticking to the door. But same thing. Now they look full and healthy and ready for another couple of years. I looked at this thing a couple times and it's bugging me. Basically, what I'm trying to do is get some paint down in behind that chip to hold it down. If you, the reason why I'm doing that is because this trim was originally oil. When they converted it from stain to paint, they put oil paint over top of it, which is what you're supposed to do back in the day. That's how you did it back 10, 15 years ago. Because the oil paint will bite the oil varnish. And now that we got latex, it's almost impossible to put latex over top of oil. Because this is what happens. It chips. I mean, I can take a 501 and just scrape all that paint off. Take it right down to the original color paint. That's oil base. This latex is like a sheet, like a shell, more or less. It's just laying on there. So once you crack it, it's kind of at the mercy of how far does it go. You know, it's uh, when you're doing touch-ups like this, sometimes it's easier just to paint the whole jam. Because by the time you get done touching, like spot priming it and then coating it to get like to do your blind, like you're gonna brush every inch of this trim this far up, no matter what. But the only difference is when we're doing a touch-up like when we're doing a touch-up like this, we're just putting it on thinner. Like we're putting a thin coat on it so it dries faster. But it just cleans it up. That's all it does. And he pretty much knows that. So it's just one of those things that but like I said, each trimmer is different. This guy, he likes his ordered look. And what I'm doing right now is just getting a couple sprinkles that hit the ground. They usually come right up. Like I said, latex don't stick to oil base or varnish. That's why I like to take these little tarps and do like a half tarp. Then I'll stuff it right underneath the door jamb. But you gotta watch doing it because when you do the bottoms, you pretty much gotta pull your tarp away from it anyway. So the best thing you can do is like 50-50 it. Just pull it back a hair. That's why it always leaves sprinkles right through here. But it's hard to do when you're trying to be efficient at it. I'm probably gonna stop this video after this door jam. I don't want to do a bunch of door jams and have you guys stuff on a long video. I think just shorter videos better because I can make an hour-long video painting a door or painting and stuff, but I know a lot of people don't want to watch that. So I guess I'm trying to learn as I go. But if you want to leave a comment on if you like the longer versions or the short versions, it'd be really great on me because then I wouldn't have to try to read somebody's mind. Because if you guys like the longer versions, it's easier for me to make a longer video than as a short one. Because like this door jam would take me an hour to paint it from top to bottom. Just to give you an idea, like everything I work on takes at least an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, like each step. Like I'm not even trying. I guarantee this video is going to be at least 30 minutes long, 40 minutes long. But well, it was the ones hitting that crack. There's a real nasty crack right there. So, yeah. But anytime you fill in a crack with paint, you kind of, it's like flipping the hourglass over. It's like, okay, now how long is it gonna last? That's why I like to. That's why we actually prefer caulking them, because it's easier just to caulk it. It's not easier to caulk it. If I'm not wrong. It's not. It's not that it's easier to caulk it. It's just the caulking lasts longer, and it's a little more durable than paint, because paint dries hard like a shell. So if you got a spot that's got a crack in it, the first thing it does when it gets banged around or pressure put on it, it'll crack. The crack will come right back. And I was sitting there looking at this door jam, and it's been touched up quite a few times. So I'm just gonna put a coat, a thin coat over top of it just to get rid of that. Because it looks kind of, I don't know, the sheen looks funny on it. Can't really see it, but that's it right there. See, it's something that was just a little bumpy. But this is a prime example of why we're doing it, just to clean this stuff up. And I don't like to go down into that because that's the clear on the floor. I like to use the bottom of the actual wood for a straight edge. Because anything below that is varnish. Same thing, just use a dry brush. Dab on that in there. And take it up. Then the same with the front. I'm gonna coat this whole thing just up to the cutoff point. And if you notice, I'm spraying it pretty thin because I'm not trying to put a bunch of coat on it. Just trying to clean it up. the best advice I can give you when you do this stuff, make sure you only go so far up because you want to make sure that everything that you're going into down here is still wet. Because if you try to get in it, I said this was half dry. Every time I would do that, it would make it look real. It would look real flashy. Like you would tell that it wasn't going to match up. It would look like it's drying way too fast. It was like well, it looked like it started drying, and you try to get back into it. That's exactly what that's it. That's exactly what that is. So you just want to try to keep it wet as possible because see, this is really a pretty spot to show you. Because if see how I did that, and I come back up. Now, if I just let that run, it'll dry like that. But if I roll it out, or if I brush it out, it's smooth. That's why brush marks all go in the same direction. Really do matter. See, this casing here is dry. See if you have an idea. Like it's already dry. Like it's hard to touch up this stuff without it flashing on you. That's why I think like stretching thin coats out is really good. And like this right here, I'm trying to just be the point. Let's screw that in there. Too bad, not too bad. Like I was wanting to show you guys how to do this stuff because it's it really is a lot of common sense when it comes to work with paint. Like you gotta understand how much you can cover, and because a lot of times people think, oh, I can just take a brush and do it. Yeah, you can. It's not a problem, but there's going to be consequences to that. And anytime you like the more shiny your paint is, the more of a flashlight you're going to have. But it's just one of those things like when you're doing touch ups on trim, like just keeping like instead of coming here and painting this whole leg all the way around, you can come in here and just do some detail work to it. Like I already kind of touched this casing up, so there's not too much on it that I can show you. Um, well, let's say you got, say they're like, can you hit that neck? Sure can. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the paint down inside of it, scrubbing it in. I'm going to blend it. Pretty much want to scrub everything off. And if you got door jams like this, see the grease? That's from opening and shutting those all the time. What happens is these run together and they create friction dust and it falls down. It's half grease and half like it's kind of like brake dust. Same scenario as brake dust. If I wanted to cover that up, I'd have to hit it a couple times because they don't cover up that well. So if you ever get stuff like this, sometimes it's easier to just take soap. I don't even know if it'll come off soap and water. I think you got to get like STP, the stuff that comes in a box. It's like that. I know what I'm gonna say. It's like a laundry detergent. Like yeah, like you can make laundry detergent out of this stuff, but what that does is it's got like a grease freighter in it, and you need to use that on it. And see how I'm rubbing that so I can come out. It's real sticky and it don't cover up when that. But that's just stuff that you look for when you go to the house and touch them up. Like this right here. I'll put this first coat on here. Making the brush is getting dry. Now my second time, I'm just gonna come in and put the paint on it. I'm gonna do this because I already blended it. I get some more of that dust. I don't even want that part of it. These are actually really common. See, it's with chips. What happens is that the actual hinge is probably flexing a little bit, and it probably popped it into there when it was putting it in years ago. It probably popped years ago. This freaking brushing getting hard. I'm gonna mess with it. But anyway, if you can, hit that subscribe button. So I'm trying to grow my channel up. So um, sorry, I'm trying to do three things at once. Yeah, if you can, just hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get my channel to grow, so I'd really appreciate the help. And like I said, leave a comment if you got any problems like what I'm showing you in your house. I can help you with that. Because sometimes just hitting it with paint won't do it, and you might have to do both. Like you might have to do some other stuff to it to get to cover it up, depending on if it's caulking it or patching it or sealing it. Like, depending on what you're doing, like what you got to look at what your surface is and what your pain is and what's it doing, and then you address it that way. For the most part, I can definitely help you with that if you need help with it. But yeah, just hit that subscribe button. I appreciate it. God bless you. Love you. Till the next one. Love you. I'm going to scrub this out.